Our first speaker, Shay, embodies authenticity. The first time I spoke to her, it just leapt out to me, and that's why I was so excited to have her as part of our conference. So, Shay is going to be talking about her experience going from a large government organisation to a digital agency. So please join me in welcoming Shay.
God, welcome. I'm super nervous, so give me a minute to get in the zone. Hi, welcome. So I'm talking about creating a collaborative culture in the testing world, lessons from the life of a digital agency. So as Aaron said, I'm going to be sharing a little bit about my experiences and my journey. Creating collaborative culture within my own team and with our, kind of the people that I work with or collective partners. This is me. So I'm going to start off with my mihi, and since it's matariki, I thought it'd be appropriate. So ko Shay nā ki taku ingoa, ko tararua te maunga, ko manawatu te awa, ko kurahopo te waka, ko rangatani te iwi. Nō reira, tēnā koutou katoa. Okay. Shit. So I stumbled into testing while being a subject matter expert for a large government organisation. So I had a totally different role, and I was a front-end user, basically at Work and Income as a case manager. So way removed from testing. To move my notes up. 1 minute. As a user, I just entered details and kind of pushed enter and then got an outcome. I didn't really have to think about what happened when I pushed that button or like how that outcome came about. I simply learned that it was called like logic, all that kind of good stuff. As a subject matter expert, I was meant to be in Wellington for a 2-week gig, and that turned into a 4-year secondment and then a few years as a permanent test analyst. I was part of a large testing unit and specialised in a system that was at the end of a very large integrated ecosystem. I moved to Alfero, and then this was a whole different kind of area for me to what I had been immersed in and really like very deep in at the organisation of MSD. Alfero is a digital agency, and they create beautiful mobile apps and websites, which some of you use every day. Quick plug for my job. When I moved there, I joined a very small, highly skilled test team who were front-end UI mobile and web specialists. They were pixel perfect. They could point out margins and paddings that were like pixels out. To me, they looked all good. I didn't even know about padding, margins, opacity, or contrast, or anything like that, let alone on mobile or web applications. I'd been looking at a legacy system that was a blue screen. So moving to the digital agency, I was way out of my comfort zone, but I was keen to learn and excited to be kind of like in the digital space. Fast forward a few years, and I'm now the QA manager there, and I'm still learning new things every day. Well, that's just a bit about me and my background. Some crowd participation here would be lovely. Hands up. So are you, or have you got experience in a large organisation? Cool. Are you in a mid to large sized QA or test team? So you're not the only one by yourself. Do you work to a set prescribed methodology? I don't know, waterfalls, that's still a thing. Do you have control of things like test data, accessing databases, and even naming conventions? We have so much diversity and experience here in this room. So I hope that some of the things that you might hear in my talk may resonate with you. So a day in the life at Alfero. So at Alfero, I'm a part of team of 4, and the best description of Alfero QA is layers. When I say layers, so we work across multiple projects and BAU releases for various clients. from a range of industries. So we've got large government organisations, utility companies, advertisers, to good old startups. And at any one time, we can be working across those, and they all have varying degrees of maturity. We work collaboratively with our own internal teams. So we've got sales, marketing, project managers, strategy, design, developers, everyone. We also work with external client teams. Some of them are based in New Zealand and some are based overseas, so a real mixture. We've really put in an effort to work with the QA teams because they're our people. And also you attend all the different types of ceremonies, so you got your kickoffs, your retros, your stand-ups. Sometimes we have up to 4 of those a day, too many. And then we do some testing somewhere in that day. No one day is shaped the same, and there's always lots going on, lots of variation or juggling. Sometimes on the rare occasion, I do miss being in like a waterfall project thinking, oh, I just want to work on one thing for one period of time. And then I remember my previous experiences and I'm like, nah, I'm good. This is one example of the kind of stuff that we test. So this is Andrew and my team testing a movement application on an iPad. This is us having fun. The Alfeo QA team are here today, so have a chat to them if you want to know more about life at Alfeo. This leads on to the types of work. So I mentioned before the industries and the clients that we work with, and this also varies the types of work that we do. So for some clients, it's just UI only, so does it look pretty, does build meet design. Others, it's for checking accessibility, doing API stuff, end-to-end, kind of know the deal. And we adjust as we need to. Sometimes there can be up to 3 or 4 different kind of companies all working together-ish to kind of bring the app to life or to maintain and enhance. That's a lot of people. And we aren't all together at any one time. So again, more layers. The client team, my team or Alfeo, and we may have an external integration team and sometimes one other team. So that's the layers. Very rarely these clients have in-house test teams, but when they do, they vary in size. And the way that we work with them, sometimes it starts off rocky and sometimes it's all good from the get-go. So all very random and varied. And some just don't have teams at all. They haven't invested that time or money in that space. So UAT is usually done by someone with arms and legs or a product owner or business analyst or someone similar. Each of those teams involved has their own perspective and deliverable to work towards. But at the end of the day, all the teams really want to do is get the best quality product to users and market. And yet, we test across mobile. So you've got your iOS, Android, I probably don't have to tell you on this, on a range of operating systems. Some are as low as OS 5 if you're an Android type person, which is very old and clunky. And then we also test across multiple device brands. So Samsung, Oppo, all that kind of jazz. These are driven by user analytics. So we also have to be aware of user analytics. We have a large range of physical devices that we use and we maintain. We also share those with test teams. So we usually ask them to come in and say, hey, since you don't have those physical devices, come hang out with us and you can use them. It's part of a collaborative process. When we don't have a particular device, we just use emulators and kind of go from there. And also on top of that, we do all the web stuff. So you got your browsers, your Chrome, your Firefox, also driven by user analytics. Most recently, I've been testing streaming devices. So Apple, TV, Chromecast, dongles. I definitely wasn't a user of any of those. And kind of inbuilt TV applications, which has been really interesting. It's definitely taken the enjoyment and entertainment out of watching telly, using those for testing. But yeah. Still fun. That's all kind of just one type of work that we do there. The other part is really the managing relationships, the communication of results, communicating any needs, wants or requirements, a little bit of negotiation and also pivoting and switching, which has its challenges. Challenges. So I asked a few questions in the beginning, in that hands up section, and they were basically to get you to think about what's your current work situation or your previous experiences. So for me, like I was at a large government agency, I was part of a very large team, I was working to a prescribed methodology, it wasn't really prescribed, waterfall or lightweight job, and I had control of certain aspects. When I moved to Aotearoa, 3 distinct challenges early on in my journey have kind of really sat with me the whole time. So when I was putting this presentation together, they naturally kind of made the cut. The first one. So this one, kind of when I put this together, kind of feel a little bit petty moving forward, but it was from my earlier time. So one of them is I felt like I had no control. This is massive for me. I'm not a control freak, but as a tester, I like to have certain control of certain aspects to my role. I think inherently testers, deep down, I like that. Here are some examples. So one of them was creating user data. Not a big deal for some people, but for me, I was like, why can't I do these things? So I'd been able to create my own data or searching for existing data previously, but now I was not able to do this. I was like, why? Why can I not? So one client's process was to create a ticket with what I needed and then to wait. That wait time could vary. Sometimes it didn't even come. I'm like, very frustrating. Another client's process was to use a predetermined list of data that had already been created, but the data would be corrupted or would be no longer available in the environment, thanks to a data cleanse or a refresh that no one had bothered to tell us about. Again, very frustrating. Another bit of this was environment configuration. Previously, I'd been able to kind of determine what was required in my test environment, be it code parity or kind of data cuts from production. And here I couldn't do anything. I would often get environments that were so far removed from being production-like or had the latest kind of builds that I needed to kind of do my testing. So I would happily do my testing and think, it's all good, working. Then it would go to UAT and it would fail. Doesn't look good. Again, frustrating. And these were 2 things that I felt were basics to ensure quality, but I couldn't do them. Here's a cool quote that I like from a guy that I think is pretty cool, Tim Tebow. So he talks about, don't worry about what you can't control. Our focus and energy needs to be on the things we can control. So your attitude, effort, and focus, these are the things we can control. So even though I couldn't control those aspects, I could control my attitude. Yep, gratitude's the attitude these days. Easier said than done sometimes. And effort. Put in as much effort as I can without kind of getting a bit deflated. And then focus. Focus just on the things that I could control, or the big picture, or kind of the overall and why we're kind of doing stuff. The second one could be a little bit weird, but to me it was like a loss of identity. I had been going to meetings and then I was hearing third-party vendor or the tester. And I think, who are they talking about? And well, then I realised it was me. I thought, I mean, being called those kind of like isn't bad, but it also isn't that great. I'm like, man, I'm actually Shay the person. I have value. And it didn't really set a positive foundation for a collaborative kind of working environment I felt at the start, which is already kind of hard enough as it is as a tester or QA or someone who's kind of seen as a blocker or a hindrance to releases and kind of all that old school stuff that goes along with that mindset. But this was super important to me because I'm like, hey man, we're part of the team. Especially if I want to work with a test team, I have to really introduce myself to them. And being referred to as like third party or the tester really wasn't happening. And I also was really dealing with like imposter syndrome. I thought, oh God, I've got all this other kind of stuff going on, now I've got no identity. How do I get that back? And then the third one is context switching at pace. So because I talked about those layers before and that all the clients are not the same, the context switching at pace was a deal. But it has 2 parts. So there's the switching between the types of work and the bits and pieces, cool. And I'm not talking about multitasking like you're doing an email and then doing a spreadsheet and kind of chatting to your friend and having a cup of tea, that type of stuff. It's more around the kind of, yeah, different bits and pieces. But the second one, the big one, is the mental switching. You're mentally, you're in the zone, you're concentrating, you're deep, you're in there, you're doing your stuff. And then you get interrupted for various reasons. Usually it's like, hey, so-and-so's away, the client wants this to be an important thing, they're a priority, can you get it done now? And you think, oh, okay. Now I've got to mentally stop what I'm doing, think about what am I picking up, what even is the work or the problem, who do I need to talk to, who do I have to work with, is there a tight deadline, kind of, is there a lack of rigor, or is it like an extremely rigid process in place? All of those things around the mental switching in that space. Also, if you're doing web-based work and then you've now got to switch to mobile, that also takes some time to kind of mentally switch. The P1 hotfix stuff, that's the on-the-fly stuff. The other stuff, if you can kind of know a little bit in advance and plan, then you can kind of work, like I'll do 4 hours of one client in the morning and then 3 in the afternoon, all planning it over a period of time. So context switching was massive. So how did I adjust and overcome or accept these challenges? These probably should be in a different order. It shouldn't end on tears. Mindset and tears. In this area are both still in progress, right? So for control, it's just like I just still let it go. So let stuff go. Can't do anything about it, not going to waste any energy, just give it up. I feel okay with that. So the data setup stuff, just suggest ways of, hey, how can we work better, share better data? Is there a reason why I can't create data? Is it a security thing, or is that someone else wanting to have control? Various things. And then for environments, just kind of check, hey, is the environment ready? Does it have what I need to kind of get my job done? And then the loss of identity is just properly introducing myself and making a point to really talk to test teams, because that's who I'll be really working with. And also just to kind of get a vibe from each other. You can kind of pretty much tell whether someone will be openly sharing information, or if you'll have to kind of work a little bit harder to kind of show big picture, show value, all that. And then those all contribute to culture. So collaborative culture to me is not just one thing, but a collection of feelings and actions. When you Google kind of collaborative culture and culture, there's a few words that kind of pop up. So value, environment, safe, supportive, learning. A few key words that come to mind for me are these things. Safe. Is the environment or the culture that I am working in, is it safe? Is it safe and inviting for anyone else to join? Is it safe for my internal team to be able to discuss things openly, be transparent and accountable? The other word is supportive. Are we being supportive of each other? Are we being supportive of the process? And the third one that I like is genuine. Is it genuine? Are the interactions that we are having with each other through those layers genuine? Do I make the people that I work with feel that their dealings with me is genuine? How do I show collaborative culture? Pie chart mad. So I like to have a proper introduction. So I like to say, hi, Aaron, I'm Shane Ike, QA at Alfero. Yes, I'm the manager, but I also will be the lead tester. And then that way, he knows a little bit about me, and kind of vice versa. But also try to build rapport. Hey, let's go have a cup of tea. I like a free tea. We also like to discuss how each team or person works. Hey, Aaron, how do you like to work? What's your process? What's your personal preferences? Tell me a little bit about what you like. Also, how do you like information reported back in tickets? I thought people had a pretty much similar process, but it has varied. Some have 1 line, some have 50 lines. The variation is wild. And then boundaries. What boundaries do we have that we know of? What boundaries are we comfortable to blur? What boundaries are we not comfortable to blur? And also being flexible. Are we being flexible enough to let stuff go? Flexible enough to be like, hey, good job. You did a wonderful release. It was really lovely working with you. Being flexible, like, hey, I know I'm supposed to test these 5 things, but I can't at the moment because I have 5 other projects on. Nearly swore there. And also no blaming or blame culture. This one can be quite big and large. Every now and then you forget that you are on the same team and your goal is to get the product to market to the best of quality. But sometimes you can just be so frustrated with the process that you just like, you should have picked that up in dev test. You've wasted my time. Where are your unit tests? That way. Or why didn't they test that in UAT when that's their scope? Now it's gone to production with a bug. Yeah, blame. And I guess big picture. Does everyone know what we're about? Everyone know how we're working? Big pictures are just one of those words that's however you want it to be in the day. But also a real duty of care. So because we don't own any of those products, we have to show that we really care to all of those different layers in various ways. Sometimes it's kind of capped by, oh, we found no bugs in production. It's like, okay, cool. But for me, it's really like through every interaction I had quality conversations, we cared about the product as a team, we hustled to get it across the line, and all those kind of things. And also by saying, yep, thanks. Thanks is a big one. I don't know if we really thank each other that often or enough. And that's how I contribute to the collaborative culture. Really, it's all just finding the balance. Finding the balance between workload, expectations from within yourself, your test team, project managers, delivery, stakeholders, and then while ensuring kind of quality through every layer of that. And everybody owns quality. Sometimes it's more visible than others that that's a thing. And it usually falls to the QA team because you've got quality in your title. Okay, let me just wrap this up. So some kind of key things that I've learned along the way, and these are really large, is that I created the type of collaborative culture that I want others to be a part of. So I want not just fellow testers, but in my organisation, I want strategy to feel comfortable enough to come to the QA team and be like, hi team, I've created this document, could you just give it a quick check from a QA perspective? I also want other test leads to feel that they can participate or contribute to my culture. All the things, you know, cup of tea, just sharing some support. So there's a few client groups that we work with that have gone through restructuring. So you sent out a message to say, hi team, know you're going through a hard time, here for a cup of tea or a chat if you need to. Just stuff like that. And then collaborative culture is not defined by one thing. It's many things, like I said, feelings and actions. And everyone contributes to this. And lastly, be kind. Be kind to yourself and each other. And that's what collaborative culture is to me. Thank you.